Queen's Park Rangers welcome Burnley to Loftus Road this Saturday for our final home match and penultimate match of the 2024-5 season. So in this match preview, I caught up with YouTuber Jacob Horsfall about the Clarets promotion winning campaign, Scott Parker's style of play, and the odds of their Premier League survival next season. There is, of course, also plenty to discuss from a QPR perspective, with the Sun reporting on Wednesday afternoon that Martí Cifuentes is considering quitting as manager after a breakdown in his relationship with CEO Christian Nori. So I will, of course, be covering that after my chat with Jacob, so make sure you stick around for that. If you're new to the channel, I'm Connor aka Hoopser. I make QPR previews, reactions, interviews and features, so if you enjoy this one, make sure you hit like, subscribe, follow or leave a rating depending on where you're tuning in. Hi Jacob, how are you mate?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Thank you very much for joining me for the preview of QPR versus Burnley on Saturday. Burnley sealed promotion back to the Premier League on Sunday with a 2-1 win over Sheffield United. Still two matches to go, which, given your level with Leeds on points, will be the difference between going up as champions or runners-up. Promotion was always the goal, but start us off with how happy you are with the season as a whole.
I think it's been relatively good. I feel like the start of the season was a little bit shaky. Obviously, started brilliantly in terms of results, but off the pitch, it was a little bit ropey. Blew away Luton, blew away Cardiff, and then we lost like 7 players in a week. Got battered by Sunderland at the stadium. I like somehow came out of that just conceding once. And I mean, we had Maxima Stevis in an interview saying the club's all over the place, basically. Same with Scott Parker. I know Esteve was supposed to be going to the Olympics with France. He pulled out of that to stay at the club because he wanted to make sure things were okay in the final like few weeks of the window. But since then, we've really kind of kicked on. Obviously, there was a spell where we were really boring. You can't hide from that. But then Mark Edwards came in. I think since then we've doubled our goals per game since he arrived. We've really started really going at teams. And I think, the best way I can put it is, no team has scored twice against Burnley across both games this season. I think that's a testament to just really how the season's gone. We have been consistently there. And unlike, Sheffield United and Leeds, who both had dips, Burnley have never really had a dip. We've just been consistently there knocking on the door.
Yeah, I mean, that impeccable defensive record, just 15 goals conceded in 44 matches, that's very much been the jewel in your promotion crown this season. At times, as you said, that sort of defensive first style of play has been something that Scott Parker has drawn criticism for. But in the second half of the season, a lot more free flowing, a lot more goals scored. So, how do you and the wider Burnley fan base feel about Parker as manager after a full season in charge?
I feel like I feel like Parker, even when it was boring and I wasn't a fan, he was still very, very likable. I think the way he speaks to the press is brilliant. You can tell the players absolutely adore him. And going up to the Premier League, that's huge. And especially in title race and promotion race, it's huge as well. I think Scott Parker's he's a likable manager. He has his faults. He has plenty of them. But equally, he's really likable. He's someone that it's very, very easy to get behind him, and want him to succeed. I know majority of Burnley fans, when it was a point, were a little bit disappointed, but also at the same time wanted it to work out because he just seems to get it, I suppose. And yeah, I think again he's had his problems, he's had his faults, but in the end he's coached the best defensive side the Championship's ever seen. Best defense in Europe statistically. A side that don't really give opportunities away, and if they do, they've got the best keeper in the league behind them to kind of help that. I think overall, especially we're going up, I've came round to liking him.
Now, for the second season running, the three promoted sides are coming back down to the Championship, which supports this sort of growing narrative that the gulf between the first and second tier is getting bigger and bigger. Now, I don't want to rain on the promotion parade too early, but how confident do you feel of Burnley staying up?
For like 5% maybe. I am really not confident. I think this chance we'll probably have is better than last time, for so many reasons. I feel like this season we're not going to lose a load of players on loan. Like we lost Teller, Matson, big player. I mean, you look at where they are now. Matson playing in the Champions League, playing for Villa week in, week out. Nathan Teller playing for Bayer Leverkusen. And that was the caliber of player that we had when we were in the Championship last time. Whereas now we've kind of fair the owners have learnt the lesson. I think only two of the loans we don't have mandatory buy clauses in, and one of them we have an option to buy from for Bashir Humphreys from Chelsea. So we've built a squad that are going to stick together as it is. So I'm hoping the rebuild's not going to be as big as it was last time, bringing in 10, 15, 20 odd players or whatever. But equally, the gap's still massive, and that is a big problem. But I feel like there's more opportunities in the market this summer than there was the last time in terms of the free agent market from the Premier League. There's some big players who will probably be going either on a free this summer or the following summer. You know, you're looking at. I'm not saying these are necessarily Burnley signings or even realistic for Burnley, but just for example, you know, you got Philip Billing, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Tete from Fulham, players like that who any promoted side should be snapping up straight away. And my hope is that after hearing what Craig Bellamy said, saying Burnley want to go for certain profiles when they went up last time, couldn't afford it and had to go young, I'm hoping now that they've learned the lesson and gone, we can't just take that risk because we will go down. We've got to try find this nice blend. And I suppose at the moment, almost like Fulham did, you've just got to keep going up and down and hoping eventually it sticks at one point.
So looking at Saturday's fixture, who's in form for Burnley at the moment, and where, if at all, might QPR find some joy against Burnley?
Hannibal Mejbri's been unbelievable. I mean, he's been great all season, but really, really kind of matured as the season's gone. You know, he loses his head. There's no doubt about it. He's got a track record of losing his head when people wind him up. But lately, he's got really, really better at keeping his cool and just biding his time. Sheffield United is one of the most I'm trying to think how to say it. The biggest wind-up merchant performance I've ever seen. I think he was fouled 6 times, the most by any player in the match, and he went looking for them. But in a game like that, that's what you need. But he's creative. He adds this spark to a midfield that we don't have. But then equally, you know, Marcus Edwards always going to be a threat. Running down the right hand side, getting isolated, running at people. Jaden Anthony the same. CJ Egan Riley weirdly going forward, he's got to be like, he's the biggest final third ball progressor in the Burnley squad from centre half. So he's going to be someone that's going to cause chaos. But I do think I've literally just been talking about the Burnley defence in my own video, and I do think that in transition there is opportunities to get at Burnley. Um, Obviously, Maxim Stev and CJ Egan Riley have done a phenomenal job this season, and if QPR, for example, set up to try play long balls, try hit the ball in behind, it's not going to work. I don't think I've ever seen any team this season that have played that way get any joy against Burnley, really. But if you can exploit Burnley playing with a 2/3 when they come out and attack and try and pin you in, if you've got the opportunity with someone to carry the ball forward and attack space, I think that's where QPR could probably get some joy. Because yes, Esteve is a great wide defender, but you know, if you can get 3 or 4 people running at 2 defenders, you're instantly gonna have some sort of chance. And also, I think set pieces as well. This season we've not been awful at them, but I wouldn't say we are good at them either. Especially attacking set pieces, we aren't great, but defensively as well. I think if you can get your head on it, really get something in there and just cause chaos, we can struggle at times. I know Watford scored from a cross into the box the other week where it was just headed in from 6 yards. First contacts from set piece are definitely something Burnley struggle with.
Now, Burnley are 31 matches unbeaten. You've lost just twice all season. But QPR have taken 4 points from the Clarets in our last 2 meetings. So to round us off, let's get your score prediction for Saturday.
Oh yeah, you know what? I remember last time when I think you used beat at the turf, I think, wasn't it? To make we go and win the league at Ewood Park. Yeah, I've always loved QPR since that day. Brilliant. I think I remember it was like something like 6 goal line clearances from QPR. I remember that. Yeah, that was a proper smash and grab. It was
Yeah, it really was.
when you look about it retrospectively, you got to respect it, don't you? I suppose. But yeah, I think score predictions. I mean, depends if the lads are hungover or not. I'd probably say 2-0 to Burnley. Um, again, I go into most games and I just cannot see we're conceding. But yeah, I know QPR, as much as you've had an up and down season, I think few inconsistencies, but overall, I still think you have some really exciting young players coming through, some exciting players in general. So I don't think by any means it'll be an easy game. As much as your season's pretty much done, I believe it's still going to be a tough game, especially going away from home. Last 2 games of the season, you want to go out with a bang, don't you? As QPR. But yeah, I think 2-0, but it'll be a decent game. Trafford maybe make a big save.
Well, Jacob, thank you so much for joining me for this preview and all the best in the Premier League next season.
Thank you, mate. Hopefully QPR get promoted.
Cheers, mate. Huge thanks once again to Jacob for joining me for this preview. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel and give him a follow on Twitter via the links down below. Let's move on to the significant elephant in the room now, and that's an article in The Sun on Wednesday afternoon that suggests that Martí Cifuentes could quit this summer after a breakdown in his relationship with Christian Nori. Some fans have understandably dismissed its validity given the publication the story appeared in, but the fact it was penned by Ian McCullough, a regular West London sport journalist and QPR fan that's close to the club, does make this concerning. David McIntyre had published a piece himself on West London Sport on Tuesday breaking down Cifuentes' Swansea post-match comment, with the manager saying that he is keen for QPR to take the next step ahead of planned end-of-season talks with Nori. Cifuentes did note that the club has amazing potential, noting the training ground, location, history and identity as solid foundations, but an area he made clear would be included in that review was an assessment of QPR's relentless injuries this season. Now, McCullough's article in The Sun delivers a much more pessimistic view of those comments, suggesting Cifuentes has grown frustrated with the direction the club is heading under Nori. In particular, the article highlights that Cifuentes is unhappy at the club's decision to allow Director of Performance Ben Williams to oversee the club's sports science, medical, physio and nutrition departments remotely from Dubai, and also reveals that QPR chiefs vetoed a move from Nori to appoint a set-piece coach earlier in the season. Outside of that, the article doesn't reveal anything else new other than speculation that the likes of Norwich and West Brom could be interested in Cifuentes, having parted with their managers earlier this week. So, what is going on? Is there any truth to this story? It's a really tricky one. There have long been rumours that Cifuentes and Nori haven't seen eye to eye, starting with Cifuentes not being present at the annual fan forum back in September, and there has long been debate over whether last summer's signings had the involvement of the manager or not. I think if McCullough wasn't the writer of this article, I would be much more prepared to dismiss it, but the fact that a local journalist who has reported on the club for years has put his neck on the line suggests there is a fair chance of there being at least some validity to it. Just as equally, this could be a power play to ensure that Cifuentes gets what he wants from this summer's review, or even agents posturing given the increasing number of championship vacancies being put on the table. From Marty's perspective, you can obviously totally understand him being frustrated because the injury situation has been ridiculous this season, and he has every right to question the impact of Ben Williams working remotely. Equally, if he doesn't align with the vision that Nori is driving, then you can't afford to have the two most significant figures in the club pulling in different directions, and it's better to resolve that in the off-season rather than during next. But I have to say, I would be a bit disappointed at Marty if he did walk, because I think us as fans have shown him non-stop support, even at a stage this season where it looked like he might inevitably get the sack. And I'd like to think he would continue to respect that, try and make it work with the club and give us another season. I don't think he's the perfect manager, I still think he has a lot to learn in this league, but ahead of another summer of considerable change amongst the squad, I think we could really do with the stability and the understanding of the club that he provides, and I think both him and Nori should have the opportunity to learn from this season. This speculation, of course, does make the Burnley and Sunderland matches even more non-events than they already were given our mathematical safety. The matches now become the background noise, and the next couple of weeks the action will occur behind the scenes. For continuity's sake though, let's round off with a score prediction. Burnley are unbeaten in a club record 31 matches, they haven't conceded more than a goal a game in the Championship this season, and their final two matches will decide whether they or Leeds go up as champions or not. In short, QPR having a hope of winning here comes down entirely to how much Burnley have been on the piss since securing promotion on Sunday. So I'm going for 2-1 Burnley. Right, that's all from me. What do you think about the Cifuentes rumours? Let me know in the comments below and give me your score predictions for Burnley as well. If you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed this match preview, please consider hitting like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next one for my match reaction. Come on, you Us.